Pounders, Jay Pounders, the Flobito song. Hello, everyone. It's What's the Flobo After Hours. It's your boy Flobito. Late night in the West Coast. You know, I'm out here chilling with some really cool people. And this guy, my guest this week, is actually the coolest of them all. I don't know if you talk to him from the wrestling standpoint, or the comedy standpoint, or the overall badass standpoint. This guy has 8 different Facebook accounts, but I love them all and I follow them all. Give it up for the man, John Weber. What's going on, sir?
Hello, Bo. Thanks for having me on, man.
Man, I love your setup. It looks very cool. It looks like a late night with John.
I'm gonna tell a very embarrassing story.
Tell it.
First off, well, I set this up, but like I didn't have like video lights, so
Okay.
I went to my setup because since I moved to the country, I decided to grow some herb.
Oh, okay. The devil's lettuce. Is that what you're talking
The
about?
devil's lettuce, and that's where I get my lights from. These are actually grow lights. It's and you can see me, man. I'm shiny and terrible looking, but yeah, I'm slowly building it with lights that were meant for some very specialized plants.
Very nice, man. I love rosemary as well. Shout out to everyone in the chat right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Twitch.tv/Flobo Boyce. Thank you so much for rocking with me. And if you have a question for John or myself during any part in the next hour, let us know because we out here hanging out, man. Now, before we started,
Yeah.
you was like, I gotta get something off my chest. And I was like, what's that, John? You're like, I saw about what's behind you. I know you're a DC guy. You have every superhero there. You're my top 3 favorite superheroes of all time are Green Lantern, John Stewart, Shazam, and Superman. So what's up, John? What's going on with you in the DC universe? Talk to me.
Look at you. You love the beautiful colors. You love the big red cheese. You love Big Blue. That's Superman.
That's
and
right.
Green Lantern, RBG, man.
Green Lantern, John Stewart, yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I do love comic books, and you're a comic book writer. I gotta read his comic book one of these days. I have not done that yet. How terrible!
Shame.
That's how you know I'm your friend, because I don't
Do you
really.
a favor? Hit up Amazon, be like Flobo Boyce, see all my novels, get Silver Streak, get Legacy. Let me know what you think.
Oh, let me get in on that because I love that
I gotta
stuff.
plug my stuff, man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
By
No,
the
don't
way,
put that
if you
light
want to
under a
support me on
bushel.
the Patreon, check me out on patreon.com. That's Flobo.
Be good to the boisterous crew.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, man. Last Christmas, I gave myself a present, and I've never been one of those like, oh, DC's much better than Marvel. Oh, Marvel's much better than DC. It's all comics, man. It's all comics. I loved all the old comic companies. I love Image. I love Eclipse. Pacific. I was buying indie comics way back in the day. But I never bought Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because it was too expensive.
Yeah, wasn't it? It was weird, right?
It was weirdly expensive for black and white.
And it's funny because at the time I got into comics, it was already the 90s. So, like, those are like reprints. And even then, it was kind of like,
yeah. Why am I paying all this money? So this Christmas past 2019, I gave myself a DC Universe. So that's universe. All right. This is where the rant is starting to ramp up already. So if I'm getting a little too heated for the beginning of the show, you slow me down, Flobo.
It's after hours, man.
All right.
Shout out to Haywood Wong who says, hey, John. Hey, what's going on, Haywood?
What's up, Haywood?
Yeah, man. Rant on him. Go ahead. Cut a promo.
All right. Here's the rant. All right. I liked the comics. I liked the new shows they were putting up, Teen Titans. Swamp Thing was there when I showed up. I wasn't there when they were rolling it out. Doom Patrol was just happening when I signed up. I like all the live action, Stargirl, like all that stuff.
I haven't watched
animated.
Is that good?
You know something? I have not watched it yet.
Okay.
I've been saving it in a really weird way for myself. I've been saving it. I do like the cast, and it looks really promising. So we'll see. I've mostly dipped my toes in Titans and Doom Patrol so far.
Kinky.
And here's the thing. They also have the animated movies. And then they've got the comics. You can read now, not every comic, but a lot of the comics, and that's great. And here we're going along, and then all of a sudden, HBO Max comes along, and then they start going, oh, Doom Patrol is going to be on HBO Max. Teen Titans going to be on HBO Max. So then you got to start asking, as the customer, like, what's happening to the stuff I'm paying for, that it's all moving? And then they made the announcement last Friday. They made the announcement last week anyway.
Okay.
So all of the televised programming, all of the new stuff is going over to HBO Max. And leaving the universe.
It's going to collapse. Yeah.
So here's what they did. They then rebranded the universe, and now it's called DC Universe Infinite, and it has less. They call it Infinite, and they're offering less.
Is it more comics? Like, what makes it infinite?
More comics. More comics.
Sad
and
day.
now they're like, guess what? Comics that were on the stand 6 months ago, now we're going to offer those to you. And most of the fans are like, oh my God, that's the greatest thing. I don't read that stuff. It might be great, but I don't read the new stuff. I read the old stuff.
I'm
granted,
snob. I don't read the new stuff.
I mean, it just doesn't like, hey, it's a whole new Batman. How many of those have you seen, Flobo? Because I've seen about 100.
I can't. Seriously, like, I am a DC guy through and through because I feel like whereas Marvel comics are like relatable, DC is more aspirational. Except for I could not stand Batman's. Iron Man was like my Batman surrogate, so I can care less about Batman for sure.
Wow, you really don't like Batman?
He's a white privileged superhero, bro. Like, what? He has no powers, and everyone who's a Batman fan could swear he could be Superman. And it's like, oh, he beat him in the comics. Well, yeah, because if Superman beat Batman in the comics, that'd be half a panel, laser eyes, done, Homelander style. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it. But sorry, that was not my rant. It's your rant.
That's a good rant. No, I'm happy I heard that rant. You know what happened? Our rants merged and went down the rant highway.
Yeah, exactly. On ramp.
So I'm mad that, I mean, it's like if I came over to your house and I took away a bunch of your square footage and then said, now your place is infinite. Hey, Derek, what's up, man? Spider-Man is better than Batman. I will agree to that.
Yeah, sure.
I have played many Batman games. I played the Spider-Man game on the PS4, and wow, that's a great game.
I didn't know you game.
That?
How many damn game?
Little bit.
Okay.
Little bit. You know what I can't do is Battle Royale.
Ooh.
Anytime you're playing a game where other people can shoot you, I'm the guy who gets shot the most.
I can Fortnite and Apex Legends. I landed, got shot in the head, and I was like, this isn't for me. I play Rocket League. I'm sorry. There's no guns in Rocket League. That's the way it is. But.
Now, that's funny. I noticed that on your page that you'd put up a clip of Rocket League. You're into it, huh?
Rocket League saved my life, bro. Like I play it every day. Like it was. This is not really about me, but like, even though it's What's Up Flobo, but like, so 2018, like I was living with my girlfriend and I was working for myself. I was a DJ in Southern California. It's my first year doing it though. So first year starting your own business, it's the worst, right?
Yeah, long periods of nothing.
Like self-employed, unemployed is a very small line.
Oh yeah, been an actor for 30 years. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, dude, and you're handsome, sir. No, so my girlfriend at the time, she was living with me, and her career skyrocketed. She was working with the Red Cross. She was working in fundraising. She was like, her profile was going up. So now here I was at 30 and change, feeling I'm not contributing to this household. Feeling the pressure. She never said anything, but when you get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're going to work, and your boyfriend is not going to work. It sucked. And every day, I don't want to use a D word, but like it was depressive to be like, I'm not going to make it. Now, one of the cool things about life is the orgasm. And I'm going real dark here because those 5 seconds or not, you can't think of anything, right? but for some reason, besides that, in Rocket League, for those 5 minutes, the game is so intense. I wasn't thinking about how I was sucking at life. And so that was like a therapy. I'm going to play Rocket League for an hour and then go back and figure out how I'm going to get a client or be or whatever. So like I've become the biggest advocate for that game. I actually got a PC, which I have right now because when Rocket League goes free to play, I'm getting it on Wednesday. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Oh, right. So it's going free to play. Now, I've been on a bunch of games and a lot of multiplayer games, right? That's a massively multiplayer online game.
It's kind of like a sports game, but you control your car. So, yeah, you can party up with people. You can go solo with other people. But it isn't like you have to have a team before you get in there, you know?
Right, right. Oh, no, that's very cool. That's very cool. Yeah. So, like, now are they going to go in-game purchases? Is that the deal?
So before it was keys, and of course in Europe that was a big deal. Like it's basically promoting lotteries. So now they have blueprints. So if you want the cool designs, you get a blueprint, and you got to pay the credits to open that blueprint or to build that blueprint.
Okay.
So whatever. Yeah. Like if you don't care about the cosmetics of it all, you can still play.
Yeah. That's always been my thing. It's like I don't have to have the fanciest cape. You know, I don't have to have the most dashing sword. I'm perfectly happy working with the tools everyone else works with and putting my own spin on it.
Hell yeah, man. But I told him it is about me. You were saying?
Well, I mean, so now I'm like, I'm looking at DC Universe, which is not a universe. It's very limited and it's not infinite, no matter what they call it. I'm digging the books. I love reading the books on my tablet. I'm like Grandpa reading his Kindle.
So, not my grandpa, not my dad even.
Yeah, I'm not like my grandpa because I don't work very hard at anything. But
sure,
you know, I like reading the comics now. I'm enjoying that, and yeah, it's going all comics. So then I had this, and here's the thing though, Flobo, they took away all the TV, all the movies.
Yeah,
same price.
Of course, they're not gonna go down. Yeah.
So they're giving you less. They're calling it infinite. It ain't infinite.
Yeah.
And then same price. Price isn't going down.
That's all happens. You ever go to the grocery store and there's less cookies in the package, but it still costs the same? That's the way it is, man. There's not gonna be no sale. It's fine.
My friend, that is the story of Trader Joe's.
True.
I don't know if everybody has a Trader Joe's near where they live, but Trader Joe's, delicious food. Delicious food, unique food, and then you get really hooked on them. I remember buying they would make like their breakfast bars with the fruit in the middle.
Right.
They're like cereal bars, and I remember buying those, and like one of those was the most satisfying thing. And you could eat one and you could be like, I'm good for like an hour now. And then you buy them now, you're getting 1 Fig Newton.
Yeah.
So you're basically buying a box of 6 Fig Newtons.
Did they call it Fig? What's the Trader Joe's name? Because there's always a weird name.
Okay, here's the worst thing about that. I wish I had a box in here so I could show you, because no one ever believes me. It's called, let's say you want the strawberry flavor. It's a good flavor. Okay. It's called A Strawberry Walks Into a Bar.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
You seen those?
Yeah.
I remember going into a Trader Joe's I'd never been into before and going, where are your like cereal bars? And they're like, we don't have cereal bars. And I'm like, oh. It's called like A Strawberry Walks Into a Bar. And the woman's like, what are you talking about? She called over like 3 other people and they're all like, you're dumb.
Now it's funny because the Trader Joe's are so small, it's probably like a small crowd, really.
Yeah, I mean, look, you only have 50 items in the whole store.
Right.
Anyway.
So
yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my DC universe. Do I just let it do? Their multiverse is always imploding.
It sounds
Flobo.
to me
Do
like
I just let this one
HBO
implode?
Max. It sounds like you just convert that shit to HBO Max.
Well, and here's the thing about HBO Max, and I'm sure it's a fine product, and you know, I don't want them to sue me. But here's the thing: $14.99 a month, and they're like Apple. They ain't budging on that price.
Yeah.
They're like Nintendo. What they charge is what they charge.
Yeah,
and you don't get a break.
Look, man, I will tell you one thing. I've had a cell phone that's so old a cell phone number so it will be in college. And I've been an AT&T customer for so long. It was AT&T Wireless, became Singular, and went back to AT&T. They don't give a shit about you at all. But I just want to, yeah. So Haywood Wong says real quick, John asked for a refund. But
Kind of late. Kind of late.
I gotta go though.
Haywood.
I gotta talk to you about Raw tonight. So I watch Raw every week. I live tweet Raw, NXT, and SmackDown on Twitter. Sometimes for comedy. I think it's funny. I don't know. Sometimes I get blocked from people, and I get a lot of AEW trolls that say, "Well, Vince is senile," but whatever. But you haven't watched Monday Night Raw since Obama was in office. Now, this is like 2008.
Yeah.
Just
First
overall
administration.
just overall thoughts about tonight's Raw, because a lot of things happened that even made me go, "The hell?"
Okay, good. Oh, good, because, I mean, I was lost. Oh, no way, Derek. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. Oh, man. And you know what? It always seemed like a good place to work. I don't know if that was your experience, Derek, but TJ's, I see guys my age working at Trader Joe's all the time.
True.
And I'm one of those sad sons of guns who used to occasionally wear a Hawaiian shirt just for the day. Be like, I'm going to stop in Trader Joe's, and before I know it, I'm helping a lady find the chopped garlic. Like right over here, you're like, oh, thank you. You don't have a name tag. I'm like, I don't work here, but
oh, you were a sleeper cell at Trader Joe's. That's great. That's good.
I love chopped garlic, and I knew where it was.
Yo, you need some help?
Then I'll put on my red shirt and go over to Target.
I've done that before. I used to work at Target, so I've done that before. Yeah,
and
the thing about Target is, I learned so much, is don't work at the places you love. Because when I left Target, because it was the first, okay, so I moved to California, I was in film school, right? So you can imagine me, 21 years old, going to graduate school to film, which is a bad idea for immigrant parents, right? Trying to work my way through film school, and I was at Target, and you had to buy the red shirt. Good thing that you buy whatever shirt you want, and I was a lot heavier back then. But it's a nomenclature. Like you don't say, hey man, you need some help? It's like, hi, welcome to Target. Can I help you find something? You know, like my job title, I kid you not, was level 1 team member of Logistics Flow Squad.
Oh my goodness.
And what does that mean? Stock boy. Just say stock boy. Why am I something else? Whatever. That's not about me though. So Monday Night Raw though. So Retribution, Hurt Business, the women's division. Let me know what your thoughts are, because you haven't watched Raw in about 10 years.
I really haven't. I mean, to be as precise as I can be, I stopped watching Raw when it went to 3 hours. So that's a long time ago. Yeah, long time ago. So here's the thing. Let me just start with Retribution, because obviously they're a big deal. The kids from, is it Raw Underground? The kids who are all around that ring, pounding on the ring, like they must be exhausted, and then they have to put on a hoodie and a baklava, and they have to like go.
Some of those guys are from NXT, so but yeah,
short-handed, right? Yeah. I mean, they don't have so many bodies that there's like Retribution is just its own thing. It's like everyone who used to be a Rosebud is now one of the Retribution ninjas.
Wow, the Buddy is now in Retribution. This storyline has been going on all summer. So to give us a bit of backstory, they've been showing up and like ripping up the ring. They've been hanging out in parking lots. They've been wearing these like baklavas. And I think last week they cut the first promo, being like, "We're Retribution. We're here for something." So everyone was saying, "Hey, it's a Shield 2.0. It's Nexus 2.0.
How is it not? It doesn't have Wade Barrett. It doesn't have Dean Ambrose.
Wade Barrett and Dean Ambrose. That'd be a cool tag team." But yeah, 3 hours of Raw, and then I guess to me, I still watch wrestling. I love it. I think I'm married to it. So even though I'll have bad days with my wife, I'm not going to leave it. But I mean, this break has been pretty rough on WWE. I mean, I'm seeing now more than ever where there's storylines will have non-consecutive segments, which never happened back in the day. Where you have like Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins in segment 1, and then segment 6 doing more of a story. You're kind of like, this is weird, right?
Yeah, and that was odd. That was very odd. I didn't hate it, but they're clearly doing anything they can to fill in for the gap. I mean, here's the thing. I have not watched Raw in a long time, but I had a very specific attitude towards the WWE approach.
Go on.
Now, the WWE approach, this is pre-COVID, so in the before times.
Yeah.
They were not so much a wrestling show. This is a weird point. They weren't so much a wrestling show as they were like Ice-capades or like Hey Gabba Gabba, get the sillies out. Like,
first
that's
of
an
all,
arena
it's
show.
Yo Gabba Gabba. I'm just kidding. I got you.
You know, just say okay, Boomer. I earned it. I know.
I got you. Yeah, it's more entertainment based.
It's
yeah,
Yo
sure.
Gabba Gabba. That's right. I mean, here's the thing. They used to do these arena shows, Ice-capades, classic example. Sesame Street on Ice. I saw that one back in the day. They do these arena shows, and that's what WWE became. That's the WWE universe. It's internet, folks at home, plus 16,000 fans in this giant butt arena. I mean, I've been to Staples where it was just about filled. I mean, they usually on camera side, they usually don't let a lot of people sit there, but you know, they could pack them to the rafters even at the Staples Center, and it's a big show, and I get that. And there's a timing and a pace for that. Right. There's also a certain way, as you know from directing, there's a certain way that you would shoot it and you would direct it, and they can't do that now.
Right.
They had to change everything. So I'm not a hater. I'm a congratulator. Good for them that they figured some of these things out. The Thunderdome thing, good for them. That's fantastic.
So you didn't watch it when it was like in the Performance Center, and it was
I watch clips.
Okay, yeah, because WrestleMania was the Performance Center. That was a trip.
That's right.
Like, I mean, granted, it was 2 nights, so they made an event out of nothing, but it was interesting to see like in the Performance Center.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, you and I have both been to every kind of wrestling show there is. You've been to indie shows. You've been to shows with 20 people. You've been to you've been packed
shows
in
with 20 people. Yeah, because I mean, you used to wrestle too. So like, oh, come on, man, like you have that insight.
I love indie wrestling, and I actually get really kind of pissed off when people say that indie wrestling is not wrestling, because as I say about WWE, that's not exactly wrestling. That's a big arena show. When you're working in front of 30 people who can see every single thing you do, and they feel everything that you take, every punch you get, every punch you throw, they can feel it. They can see the sweat flying off you, which is why during COVID we can't be in the same building. It's a very wet sport, as you know.
Damn it, COVID.
Lots of spit, lots of sweat. Yeah, very aerosol, as the doctors are saying right now, and yeah, it's a really intimate experience. One of my favorite things very early in my career was getting thrown out and a little kid, like a 6-year-old, coming over and helping me get up. Aww. And I was a bad guy at the time. Yeah, I know. And
can we talk about he was like your character as a bad guy?
My character started out, okay, make me go fast if this story gets too slow. I was on a TV show called The X Show. It was a man-centric show. You never heard this story?
This sounds like porn. What? I was at The X Show.
I was on a show called The X Show.
Yeah.
There was the man show had been around for a little bit, and Fox made their own version, and we were on FX, and we were on 5 nights a week. Sick. Stripped, as they say. And I was one of 4 hosts. This was 99. This was like March of 99. So the Attitude Era in WWF and the NWO era in WCW were still going. ECW was still out there. I went and I took wrestling classes at XPW. Do you remember XPW?
Yeah. I remember XPW.
Extreme Professional Wrestling. It was run by Rob Black, who was a
pornographer. Like, is that the correct word? Yeah.
And he wanted to out ECW. He was such an ECW fan. And then he had a ton of money because at the time, adult entertainment was making a lot of money at the time. And so he was losing money like crazy, but he was the guy who had Sabu. Nobody had Sabu now except for Rob Black. So, he was using all these X guys, big, God, it was the Big Dudley, Big Dick Dudley.
Big Dudley, yeah.
He had him. Meanwhile, the Dudley boys are over in WWF at the time.
Yeah, second tier Dudleys. That's cool.
So we had the off-brand Dudley, but I say we. So what I did was I entered the classes. I was in a class. Have you ever heard of the wrestler Sexy Chino?
Yeah, he still wrestles. He's on Wrestling Pro Wrestling with Josh and I did a podcast this week for New Amsterdam Radio. And Chino is a mystery. If you guys don't know who Sexy Chino is, he's a guy who is vaguely of Asian descent, but no one knows where he's from or how old he is. He's just kind of just there. And he calls himself Sexy Chino. Look him up on YouTube. He's dope. He's good in the ring.
He's the best.
Nothing about him.
Oh, no! I am the number one Sexy Chino fan because I met him on day one. His very first day of wrestling class was my very first day.
Oh, cool.
And we were in there with a bunch of basically backyarders. I mean, a lot of them became good wrestlers, but in my particular class, it was really backyardy. Okay. And backyard wrestling is not, they don't get a formal education. They only learn wrestling from watching on TV. That's just not how you learn wrestling. True. So, but they were very high-handed to me and Sexy Chino. I won't use his shoot name, but and I can tell you,
he was born out the womb, Sexy Chino.
Well, what's so funny about Sexy Chino is he started in Lucha Libre. And there was World Power Wrestling.
Okay, what's that about?
That was a half lucha, like half just anybody, white kids included, company that would put on shows at the flea market down in Anaheim.
Yeah.
And I'd go down there and see Sexy Chino. Now, he had originally planned on calling himself Susuri, which is the Japanese word for scorpion. Ooh. And he had a couple of moves from Sting. He was doing the scorpion death drop or whatever. The scorpion, there's a thing.
Reverse DDT, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And he, so he was going to go in and do this gimmick. And he told the guy at the Lucha Libre show, and the guy was like, no one's going to care if you're a Japanese word for something. Look, everyone looks at you, and even though you're Japanese, they think you're Chinese. So we're just going to call you Chino. And then
he's Japanese? I had no idea.
Brother, he's Japanese. It gets better. He's Japanese, and one of our other buddies, Infernal, was over there, and he was like, well, you can't just send him out and say, hey, he's Chinese. That's not a name. True. How about this? He likes to dance. Call him Sexy Chino. And he's just this sexy dancing wrestler. Now, Chino is actually from Peru. I told you it gets better.
Oh, yeah.
Chino's family comes from a Japanese community in Peru. Yeah. That's where his dad and his mom grew up. And then they moved here to the States. And he and his brother pretty much grew up from like middle school and up here. So they're Americans. I mean, they're very American. But the thing about Chino is anytime someone was talking about him behind his back in Spanish, he's fluent in Spanish. He would turn around and in Spanish say, hey, I can hear what you're saying about me. Please stop.
Again, for those of you who are watching this from like the old AfterBuzz shows, both George Hermosa and Josh Tariff, that's Devastator 2.0 and Jeff Peanut Butter on Wrestling for Wrestling. I've worked with Sexy Chino. Check out the Wrestling for Wrestling shows on YouTube. Question for you from Derek. He says, do you remember Deuce and Domino from back in the day?
Hey!
I actually liked them. I actually thought the whole greaser gimmick was pretty cool. So I guess I got you off track. So with your whole wrestling background and your skills and your eye for talent and all that, what'd you think about Raw? Would you be back next week, or it's kind of like nah, I'm good. I did it for the show tonight, but I'm fine.
That's a good question, because I have to say the parts that I liked, I really liked. Like the Hurt Business. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are great wrestlers.
They're actually heels, but I don't care. They're awesome.
That's the thing, but I'd heard someone else say this. I think it was my buddy Doc Atrocity from Hood Slam. I just dropped a name. You want to pick that up?
Made that up. Doc Atrocity.
No.
Hood Slam.
No, man, you got to check out Hood Slam. Have you never checked out Hood Slam?
I guess I will after the show.
Before Wrestling Pro Wrestling, there was Hood Slam. As a matter of fact, I don't even think Brian Kendrick would mind me saying this. Brian Kendrick worked Hood Slam before he started his own Wrestling Pro Wrestling. Pretty soon after he started doing that. A lot of these, like Insane Wrestling, there had been other sort of comedy wrestling shows before, but Hood Slam was the real glass breaker in the last 10 years or so. A fantastic company. Everybody should check out Hood Slam, as well as Wrestling Pro Wrestling, as well as anything that Flobo's covering.
Thanks.
Doc Atrocity said, this is like, somebody said, oh, is this just a new Nation of Domination? And Doc very properly pointed out, no, this is like the Four Horsemen. True. These are great wrestlers. You don't have to bring any race into this. Shelton Benjamin is just Hall of Fame. And he has not had as good a run as he deserves. He's sort of where you're making me crazy.
Kofi?
Yeah, he's where Kofi was at the beginning of New Day. This was a guy who had not really gotten his due yet. True. Hadn't really, gotten his respect. So the fact that Shelton's there and that it's built around Bobby Lashley, who is just legit.
I don't know, man. I still call him chocolate vanilla. I feel like if it wasn't for MVP, I would not be on board with anything Lashley does.
And MVP is money, man. Guy has stacks of money.
I want to say this. People give Edge the edge at Royal Rumble, because both MVP and Edge came back at Royal Rumble this year. I popped way harder for MVP because I feel like, and I actually did a video about this, I'm not trying to drop, but like he is the prototype of wrestling today. He was treated as an athlete. He was a high-priced SmackDown signing. He had signing bonuses. Like it was the breaking open character for the reality era. And everyone told me last year this time when Rusev and Lana were having the divorce angle with Lashley, this is the best thing for Lashley. This is the best thing for Lashley after Leo Rush. And I said, you have MVP basically telling Lashley, open your mind, bro. You haven't had a title match since Great American Bash 07. You're supposed to be that good. What's wrong with you? And that to me instantly made Bobby Lashley way more believable, way more legit than anything Lana, Rusev, Miro, whatever has done.
Right.
Props to MVP, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I love to see a guy like Lashley who has been a big part of the business and learned a lot about how to do professional wrestling on TV. I didn't really see his run in Impact, but everything I ever heard was good. He was still legit. So the fact that he's back, and then Cedric Alexander, just a great young talent. I know he's been in for a long ass time now, but still, I think of him as young, and I'm just like blown away. This kid, his body just gets better. He puts in the work. His wrestling is the wrestling of a much smaller, not as muscular guy. This is a good team, man. I kind of felt bad that Cedric had to work 2 matches, though. I just feel like that's crappy planning.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying. The duplication of the different storylines or whatever. It's
Mhm.
hard to tell with the virus because WWE's never disclosed who's tested positive, if anyone's tested positive, and who's available. But it does starting to wear thin. 6 months
Yeah,
in
yeah.
after the lockdown, where you have guys because it kind of rotates a little bit. Like
Hmm.
Selena's crew had a couple matches or a couple segments. I'm
Right.
hoping guys like Ali gets more time. Hoping with Sami Zayn coming back and Roman Reigns coming back, we have a bit more diversity in the show. 3 hours is a lot of time to cover.
It
There's no
really is.
reason why this should be 4 segments of Hurt Business, no matter how good it is.
Right, right. I think correct me if I'm wrong, but
Corrected.
didn't but didn't Paul Heyman get moved off the creative team? I love this stuff. I always love to know who's like in
Yeah.
charge of the creative.
So
And
the
it's
idea was he was removed of creative because of the whole deal with AJ Styles, and Bruce Pritchard holds both teams, which makes sense because during the lockdown they're all in the same building. It doesn't make sense to have a different team. Paul Heyman is on SmackDown, on-screen character with Roman Reigns. Basically,
yeah,
also with Brock Lesnar's contract being expired, Roman Reigns is in that Brock Lesnar spot, hanging with the Paul Heyman
which
guy.
I also think is good business
Yeah,
because let's face it, Roman Reigns, just like Brock, has always had that elusive appeal. It's so people like him, but they don't like him 5 stars. They give him like 4 stars of like 4 out of 5.
yeah.
Brock was like that for a few periods in his life before Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar. Yeah, that's true.
My name is Paul Heyman.
It's it.
I love
Brock
the
is one
dude.
of those ones I've never appreciated him as a professional wrestler. I felt like he was always pushed early, pushed often. But I will, and it's kind of a very very small point. I think I said it before in my NXT after show, draped in gold. So WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre was gunning for his first WWE title against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And there was a time where I don't know if you appreciate it as much as I did, but like Drew Claymore kicked Brock Lesnar 3 times. Once
Mm.
in the ring, once on the ramp, once on top of the ramp. And you could hear, he called it, Brock is laid out. So Brock is like kayfabe laid out by the third Claymore. And he's like, pick up the belt. And Drew was like, "Argh!" And I was like, oh, I get it. Brock has way more business sense than I was giving him credit for.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Drew was like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm going to
yeah,
Mania. And I was like,
yeah.
props.
I mean, I love those moments so much because there is that thing, and I'm sure you use the phrase all the time, the ring general. That's a very wise wrestler. In every match you see, there is not a ring general.
True.
Like there will be a guy who gets ideas. And another thing I'll say is, look, we all know a lot more about wrestling than we did when I started, when my education in wrestling started. I was taught you never really talk about what's going on, from wrestler to wrestler. Um, and obviously people know they know that the good guys and the bad guys came together in the same car.
True.
They know the
Times are
two
hard,
guys
man. Yeah.
two guys could be beating the crap out of each other, and that night they're sharing a room at the hotel. Like, people know that now. But there's still so much risk because there's so much that's unexpected, and there's such a train wreck element to wrestling that you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to work. And somebody has to tell you. Like, one of my favorite moments was a match with and this is like 20 years ago now, I guess, Triple H and Kurt Angle.
Right.
And you can hear Triple H like, get in the corner, like just yelling at him, get up, get your ass on the top turnbuckle.
Yeah.
Now, it looks like he's like, I'm going to beat you up. But what he's really yelling is, get up to the top corner so I can do my damn finisher, you idiot.
Right. Right.
I love that stuff. And the crowd understands that now. They know that there's a show going on and that anything could happen.
Yeah.
Usually, yeah, you're given a finish. You're told what the finish is going to be. I got friends, Sasha Derevko and Mikey O'Shea. And
Oh, Mikey.
you know Mikey?
Okay, sorry. Again, I'm
Go
coming
ahead.
off
Go
here.
ahead.
But when I started in professional wrestling in 2011, God rest his soul, Johnny In gave me my first spot in Mach 1 Wrestling. And I wanted to be a ring announcer, but he's like, no, we have ring announcer, we have Angelo Trinidad, I'm not sure if you know him, to be a ring announcer. Okay, I don't know how the small thing goes, but you can be an interviewer. So I walked in the backstage, and of course, I'm sure if you're a wrestler, you see new people backstage all the time. So no one gave me the time of day. Not in a bad way. It was kind of like, okay, flavor of the week. But two guys. It was Nick Madrid and Mikey O'Shea was like, hey, bro, welcome. And I have the biggest soft spot for Mikey because he was the first guy to really make me feel a part of the wrestling community when I got in there as an interviewer.
I hope Mikey gets to see this at some point because I need him to hear me say this. He is something special. He is a once-in-a-lifetime wrestler. Big heart, loves the business, great sense of humor, doesn't take himself too seriously, even though sometimes it seems like he is. And I would call him on it as his veteran in the business and as one of his teachers early on. But man, the kid just there are multitudes in him. He is so many good wrestlers packed into one.
Yeah.
And because he won't watch his weight, he looks like it. Boom! I remember going, dude, if you could just lose the weight and build muscle, you would get signed in a heartbeat. And he just couldn't. And God bless him. He is who he is.
True.
So another fella that I met about midway in his journey in wrestling was this kid, Sasha Derevko. And the two of them. Yeah, Sasha did great work in championship wrestling from Hollywood. He is he works for Wrestling Pro Wrestling.
Okay, yeah. I have not been to a show. I've seen the YouTube videos.
Yeah. I shouldn't say this. Sometimes when you're looking at someone in a costume, it's Sasha.
Oh.
I could be in big trouble. He is not. He is not Serial Man. Serial Man is another fella I met early in his career who I would love to think I was his vet, but I was just simply older than him. But that guy, oh man, he's a genius. Serial Man is a genius. And yes, Serial Man does wear different costumes quite a bit because he makes the costumes. I don't know if I could be telling all this stuff.
Kayfabe is dead, bro. Tell me everything. You got 5 viewers. It's cool. It's fine. That's great.
But okay, so Mikey and Sasha have never tag teamed before. They get hired for SmackDown, and I think it was the Bash Brothers or something.
Oh, the Bashams. Wow, that's a throwback.
No.
Shaniqua.
Oh no, it wasn't those fellas. Who the two guys who used to come out with The Fiend?
Oh, the Bludgeon Brothers.
The Bludgeon Brothers. I think they got beaten up by the Bludgeon Brothers. But
that's not nearly as cool. Because the Bashams was so mid-2000s, it was funny.
I mean, they were backstage. They were told by someone, I can't remember who the name was, but somebody said, look, you boys have 4 minutes. And they're like, okay. I mean, we were kind of thinking we had a 6-minute match because that's what we were told. Guy goes, you have 4. Hang on. You have 3 minutes. Get out there. No music. They rush them down. They come back from commercial. Then the Bludgeon Brothers come out. They get an entrance. And then the ref comes over to them with his hand on his earpiece and he goes, you have 2 minutes. And so they keep losing time for their match.
I've been there, yeah.
Yeah,
I've been there.
No clue what they're going to do. I mean, you've gone up on a stage and you've only had 3 minutes, right? As a comic.
Yeah,
I've done that a million times.
Sucks.
And then you just get up and you talk about the things that just happened. You talk about the things that happened in the room, and now you have 1 minute to do material. Yeah, it's crazy. So they basically went in there not knowing how they were going to end the match, not knowing who gets to do what to whom, and just looking into the eyes of their opponents and going, okay, I see what you're doing. I'm going to walk in and let you beat the crap out of me and throw me out of the ring. And the next guy's like, oh, you threw my partner out. There has to be someone in the ring. So I'm just going to run in Lucha Libre style. And then he gets thrown over the top rope. And then ding, 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 it's over.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. It's such an unforgiving, unpredictable business. And
I was a PA for WWE a couple times. I worked back. So so I used to work at AfterBuzz TV, and one of my colleagues there, Evan T. Mack, was at a college program at Full Sail. He actually went to school at Full Sail, and so part of their placement was they'll give him a PA job. But he got actually hired by WWE. He's on their morning show, The Bump, which airs Wednesday mornings. So a lot of the times I'll just take on his role. So I've seen that backstage era. Like guys like I don't know if you remember him, Ruben Iglesias.
Oh yeah,
from that era. Like, I would be a PA and I would see the talent show up, and they kind of like treat them like migrant workers, put them in the back and get some food and water. We'll get back to you, and then hey, get dressed. We're not going to use you. Hey, I know you're dressed to wrestle, but you're going to be a paramedic. Like, it's very in the moment. And so as a PA, my job was to get, like, the sleeves if they had a tattoo, if they wanted to be a paramedic or whatever. A lot of things happen as a big catastrophe. No one really knows what the plans are, you know?
It's like you're trying to figure out how you're going to land after you've jumped out of the plane and you're in midair.
Yeah.
And then you got to come up with your plan.
True.
And hey, you know, from being in comedy, it's like that sometimes. You just have to ride the wave and just figure out, how am I going to come out of this likable?
Real quick, how's your comedy career going? I mean, I know I think we've interacted more on the comedy side, the wrestling side, but like how's comedy going for you?
I right before the pandemic, I decided I wanted to go back to what I was doing in high school, which was plays and musicals. I hadn't been doing that, you know? I went to college. I went into radio. I went into improv comedy in Boston and stand-up in Boston. Moved to New York, got hired by the biggest improv group in New York, which was called Chicago City Limits. And then UCB happened after my wife and I moved out here. But we moved out here because we were getting a lot of play from sitcoms, and we wanted to come out and shoot sitcoms, maybe get a sitcom gig.
Nice.
We came out in 96, and that's pretty much the last year that sitcoms existed.
Yeah.
And then pretty much everything from that point on was Dawson's Creek, and I apparently don't look like Dawson's father, so I don't
want to wait for our lives to be.
The one good thing that came out of that is at least James Vanderbeek has to work as hard as I do to get a gig now.
True.
But yeah, I mean, when you and I met, I had already been in. I had done that TV show. They sent me to wrestling school. I loved it. I stayed in wrestling. In 2007, I started doing stand-up again. That's like a horse that throws me, and then it takes me a few years to finish dusting myself off and get back on it.
True.
And I love it. I hosted a show for a couple of years. I love being a host because you don't need material necessarily. Just be nice. Just be friendly. And God forbid, if you're funny, the comics hate you.
Right. You killing my shine, bro.
Hey, man.
That
was time you could have given me, man. So then I went into plays, and I wanted my aim was to do this play as if I was Bill Murray, and Bill Murray was in Meatballs, which wasn't that great a movie. So he just did whatever he wanted, and that made it a really enjoyable movie. And that's what I did in this play. I was just like, what if I was the comedian who's playing the part? And fortunately, they gave me the part. And man, I rode that horse right into the ditch. Had a blast. And then COVID hit. And since then, I've done a little bit of like late night streaming. As you can tell by my
I
like.
know. I was going to give you time to plug it in a minute, but yeah, how's that going?
Uh, I wasn't loving Facebook Live, so I'm actually trying to figure out my next. What am I looking for? Platform. Trying to
Okay.
figure out. You know,
Twitch or
taking a look at Twitch. I really, I really admire people who are doing Twitch.
hey man, I'm saying I'm on StreamYard.com right now and I can multi-stream. I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, and I'm on Twitch simultaneously. Log on to StreamYard.com with my promo code and you get yourself some store credit, which will be in the show notes after this show.
I'm taking that. I'm taking your promo code, man.
Yeah.
I love it
So,
because going on all those platforms sounds like a genius.
oh, dude, yeah, it even has Periscope support. You know what I'm saying? Like, which is kind of weird. But no, thank you. Before we're running low on time, I know we're wrapping up here, but yesterday, or the day before, I had a post about Star Trek Discovery because I don't know if you know this, Star Trek Discovery was my first experience with Star Trek, and I became an absolute fan of it.
Wow.
When I was a kid, Star Trek was this giant thing. I thought I couldn't get into it. Like it's this giant bus. Like I couldn't get on it. I'm not saying
I
it with
feel like
Doctor
that
Who's.
sometimes. Yeah, I know that feeling.
And you know the stereotype is true. And same with wrestling fans. Star Trek fans are pretty much the most discerning fandom out there. What's real and what's not. But the story goes, I got a chance to DJ a wedding in Italy, which is pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. But I was out of money by my fourth day in the trip. So I was basically holed up in my hotel room my last 2 days of this, or last 3 days of this week-long adventure to Rome. Yeah. So I fired up Netflix, where the show was available at Netflix, and I fell in love with season 1 Discovery. I got open to the Star Trek universe. I've become the biggest advocate for Star Trek Discovery. But it kind of disheartens me about how people say Star Trek Discovery is not real Star Trek. Let me ask you this. Your experience with the franchise, your thoughts about Discovery, and where it's going from here.
Yeah. Now, I am a kid. When I was in second grade, we used to watch Star Trek, the original Star Trek, right before we went to bed. So it was on from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., and my parents would make us go to bed while the sun was still out. And now I'm an insomniac. How does that work? And then
that's how you rebel.
Next Generation comes along, and I dug that, and I dug Deep Space Nine. I really dug Deep Space Nine. I'd have to say
I'm on it now. I went back and watched TNG, and I'm watching Deep Space Nine now. I'm on season 3.
Oh, good! It's just about to get great. Oh my God!
I just watched the episode where they went back to 2024 San Francisco, and Cisco was like stuck in like the sanctuary zones and the whole riots and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just about to get great because Ronald D. Moore, who's famous for bringing back Battlestar Galactica. Pardon my burp. Oh, man, that was disgusting. Ronald D. Moore is just about to ascend in about maybe at the end of season 3 and then onward through all 7 of those, the rest of the 7 seasons. But be that as may, I like that. I did not love Voyager. I had a lot of problems with Voyager.
Sure.
I didn't love Enterprise.
Okay. You just hate UPN. Just admit it. No,
then the J.J. Abrams movies come out.
I actually like those. I've seen those. I saw those in theaters.
Yes, and I don't hate them. I don't hate them. What's up, man? And what I liked about it was they said, well, there's a multiverse. So like there's Zachary Quinto Spock, but there's also Leonard Nimoy Spock, and like they've bridged the gap and they know each other. And I love that. That was nice because that's J.J. Abrams saying, hey man, it's a variation. Same but different. True. And the thing that already existed still exists, and it's awesome, and we love it. But this other thing exists too. So in the context of the J.J. Abrams movies, I think that Discovery is just, let's have no limits. Let's have no limits on anything. Did you ever see I'm never going to remember this. I wish I'd looked it up. There was a movie about how Star Trek The Next Generation came to be. It was a documentary that was actually written and directed
Kids,
by
right?
Shatner.
Oh, Shatner. Got it.
Yeah. And Shatner talks to everybody. Everybody, like, Shatner's the nexus. Everyone will go through Shatner. So he has all these stories. And one of the main things that happened in trying to launch Next Generation was Gene Roddenberry was there, but Gene Roddenberry was in control of almost everything. And he said, I don't want any conflict on the ship. If there's conflict, it's what the ship encounters. No conflict within the crew. And just about every writer in the world, Flobo, you're a writer, will tell you conflict is the blood that runs through the veins of a story.
Absolutely.
Characters can all exist together. You can put together any collection of characters. If they don't have conflict, we don't resolve the conflict, and then we don't really get a story. So there must be, like those first 2 seasons were so rough on everyone because there must be conflict. How are we doing this without conflict? Now, eventually they moved Gene Roddenberry down the line a little bit, and that was ugly.
Get out of here.
You know what? Why don't you just go in this room while we do our jobs?
Right. Beat it. Yeah.
And just sign things. And once Gene Roddenberry was kind of moved out of the big picture, they were able to do that. Deep Space Nine is a perfect example. Show always had conflict. Here's what I love about Discovery. Discovery embraces everything Gene Roddenberry wanted with conflict. Right. Just about every character has some kind of issue with another character. And maybe that sounds like a bummer to people who are discussing, but when you put it into practice, it's so good. It's so good. Here's the problem that I see, and I'm going to say this. This is me. It's not Flobo saying this. This is me. John Weber saying this.
I hope not, yeah.
The butthurt white boys who don't believe that gay people should exist, that people who are not white can be in charge of things, that, don't adhere to MAGA, those people, when you take away all of the patriarchy and all of the control and all of the supremacy that is so sickening in the world right now, when you take that away, you get no limits. You can tell any kind of story.
True.
You can put anyone up there.
I mean, they're the future now. Why not?
And honestly, when you take the old limitations off, you're free. Everyone's free. Thank you, Derek. My mom's a minister, so it does come out.
No, but it's so funny to me. I think I was so afraid to get into Star Trek. I mean, one, I was already a nerd to begin with. I was into Archie comics, but
I love Archie.
I love Archie, and that's the thing. I'm glad I brought it up because that's the nerdom I was into. But for a long time, I compared Star Trek fandom to Archie fandom because I love the comics of Archie dealing with Betty and Veronica, but the CW show Riverdale was not my Archie, right? I don't get it, right? But I've never, but I was always of the opinion, hey, if you like Riverdale, maybe you want to read up on classic Archie. Maybe.
There you go.
But I feel like the Star Trek universe, it kind of like is disheartening to be like, oh, you like that fake? Oh, I think Discovery and Lower Decks, and maybe even Picard, those three are kind of like, it's not real Star Trek. It's like, Lower Decks is a cartoon. Discovery has Starfleet.
Right.
Picard is Picard. Like, what? What? Like, what more do you want? Riker was in Picard.
Right. I mean, here's the thing that kills me about Discovery.
Real quick. Yes, I've heard the Orville. I haven't watched it yet, Derek. It's on my list.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if they've canceled that. Orville's a very interesting show. Yeah, I've enjoyed what I've seen of it. I have some TV creator problems with it, but it's fine. Once in a while, why did the character do that? Oh, and now the whole plot turned on the stupid thing that character did for no reason. That's not good storytelling, but what do I know? Second season of Discovery. the captain, the acting captain on Discovery, is Christopher Pike.
Right.
Now, if you're an old-time fan like I am, Christopher Pike, you just know him from that episode. Was it The Cage?
Yeah,
Or
Cage or The Menagerie.
Both.
Yeah.
And you know him from that. You get to see him in this context in Discovery, and he's like the best Kirk you could ever ask for. And it's canon that he and Kirk were friends, and they were, like on the same level. So that's great too. Do I want to see another James Kirk? No, not really. I'm perfectly happy with Shatner, and Pine's fine. I like Pine too. But to bring back Christopher Pike, that's kind of a deep cut,
Yeah.
It's kind of like a lesser known song.
Now.
Yeah.
Strange New Worlds coming soon. Yeah.
And I can't remember the actor's name, but he's the guy who played Black Bolt in the Inhumans.
Yeah, Anson Mount. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Inhumans was trash. Inhumans was trash. But, I mean, he was so good as Christopher Pike, they're giving him his own spin-off, Strange New Worlds, which is now going to occupy the 5 years in between Discovery's departure into the future
Get
and
out
the original
of
series.
town.
So it's
seriously, he's getting his own show?
Yeah, him, Rebecca Romaine, at number 1, are going to be in their own show called Strange New Worlds, also in the CBS universe.
Holy cow. I didn't know that. I'm saying.
All this stuff is awesome. Like, I hesitated going back to TNG and DS9 because I didn't want it to, like, dampen my thing for Discovery. But right. I feel like more than ever, I know we're running short on time, but I feel more than ever, we gravitate towards the first experience of Star Trek first. Like, The Tonight Show. To me, The Tonight Show will always star Jay Leno. But for people older than me, it's Carson. And so I love Fallon. I think Fallon kills it, but I still call it Fallon. I'm watching Fallon. But The Tonight Show is Jay Leno. So, like, I love Discovery as my first language. And, breaking news, I'm going to be doing a Discovery post show when the show comes back on October 15th. So, if the man John Weber wants to roll through and be a guest host on Commander's Log, the unofficial Star Trek Discovery post show, hit me up. You could totally be a guest on that. It'd be kind of fun.
We just had the conversation last night, my wife and I. Are we going to continue CBS All Access?
Yeah.
We are. We are.
Dude, real talk. AfterBuzz never changed their login, so I'm still using theirs. It's awesome until they shut it down. It's going to be great, man. So,
do it for the people, man.
We'll talk about it. I really think it'd be kind of fun to see my perspective of like being new to it and you're like an old school fan, but open to the universe. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny too because and I know we're running low on time. Let me throw one more at you. Are you a Star Trek, not Star Wars? Are you a Star Wars, not Star Trek? Or are you all stars are fine?
Okay. So I think it's unfair because I've only seen 2 Star Wars movies. I've seen episode 4 and episode 1. But I will say this. Of the 2, I'll give the edge to Star Trek because I am a huge Green Lantern fan. And when they crossed over in comics, Star Trek, I think it's like the Nimoy Spock. So the original Star Trek crew and Green Lantern crossover, it made so much more sense of having the sectors of the world, of the universe as far as Green Lantern is concerned, and this like intergalactic peacekeeping force in Green Lantern, and this intergalactic peacekeeping force in Starfleet coming together. I've been more into Star Trek. But again, I'm so scared of the fandom that I hesitate being like, I'm a Trekkie because I feel like I'm going to be quizzed somewhere. Like, I'm a huge Mets fan, but when someone talks to me about Cleon Jones, and I have no idea. I don't know. I was before my time. I have no idea.
I'm just that same way, too. It's like if there's a really... I was always like this. When I was a kid and I would first start hearing Jimi Hendrix, people would be like, really? You don't know Jimi Hendrix? And then I would feel bad, and then I wouldn't listen because I'd be like, well, I guess I don't deserve to hear Jimi Hendrix. And, the movie White Men Can't Jump, they make that point that anyone can hear Jimi Hendrix. Anyone.
Bro.
It's for anyone. So, man, you're right on track here. You're right on track because you're fighting this negativity that fandom creates as like a bad gas that comes out of the butt end of it. And really, the beauty of it is it's art. What does it mean to you? how do you take a part in it? How do you bear some of it? Because I know for me, watching Discovery was, oh, well, suddenly Spock is a sister and she's like a human who was raised as a Klingon. Okay, all right. But then I see it put into action and I'm like, God, I love this woman. Yeah. I love that show. I just love it. I hope more people discover Star Trek through it. And I also hope people get to see themselves in it, because they're just making like any kind of person is a member of Starfleet. There is no rule about how to be a person. Anybody is part of the Federation. That's how it should be. I'm a hippie, man.
I want to check out Charlene. I don't understand if you've seen only a few Star Wars, but I love Fast and Furious. That's a very good question.
Damn, Charlene.
No, first of all, the Fast and Furious franchise is fantastic. I don't know why you try to compare the two.
I've never seen one, by the way.
What? I have a podcast.
I've never seen any of them.
It's called Entertainment Distilled, called The Cast and Furious, and two Fast and Furious super fans with two newbies, and we discuss each of them.
That's hilarious.
Look, here's the thing. When you can't drive in New York, Import Nights was a lot more relatable. So I went to the theater. I saw Star Trek Episode 1 twice. So I'll tell like Star Wars fans, like, oh, there was Jar Jar Binks. I don't get it, and it pisses them off. And I've tried watching New Hope. The first 2 times, I didn't like it. The third time, I finally got it. And I said, okay, I got New Hope. Let me watch the others. But then it gets bought by Disney, and there's like 12 more movies. And you're like, I'm not watching spin-offs, and I'm good. Like Doctor Who, I'm good. Totally
Doctor Who's a weird one. I don't blame anyone for not being able to get into Doctor Who. That's a really strange one. Here, I'll throw something even stranger, though. If Doctor Who fans want to hate on me, you can do it through this. I love Canadian science fiction shows. I love the Stargates.
Okay.
I love Dark Matter. I love Psi Factor. I love Eureka. I love like all the stuff that gets played on the Sci-Fi Channel in the last 20 years or so.
They're all Canadian? I had no idea.
I love that crazy stupid crap. And here's the thing: it's always limited by what their budgets are. Canada, not big budgets.
Yeah.
All the Stargate shows, man.
I just want to say just about Canadian shows. Last final thought, because I watched Star Trek so late growing up. When someone says Gene Roddenberry, my brain goes to Earth Final Conflict, not Star Trek, because I hadn't watched Star Trek and that show was Canadian. Earth Final Conflict, which was so weird.
Like Atlantis Alliance or one of those.
Yeah. I watched it as a kid going, I guess it's about racism? I have no idea. John Weber, thank you so much for rolling through What's Up Flobo After Hours, wrestling, sci-fi. I
went like that. It flew
totally
past.
Look, listen, you are doing live streaming too, so here's a chance where you tell everyone they can check you out and listen to you and become your fan and support you wherever you can.
Well, I'm hoping that if I get on Twitch, maybe I'll get somebody who's established and really good at doing shows to co-network with me a little bit as one does. That'd be awesome. I'll tell you what, you just look for me at the Stepdaddy, one word, at the Stepdaddy on the Twitter machine, and I will have that news for you because with this COVID, man, I mean, we got people with fragile health around my house. So I'm not going out for a long time to do wrestling shows or comedy shows or anything like that. It's got to be whatever this bizarre little version of television is.
Yeah.
Just to keep everybody safe and alive.
So
I'm an old man.
When's your next stream?
You know something? I'm gonna start up next week. So if you watch me on Twitter, I will let you know. Probably, and I'll probably do a variety of things. I'm kind of hoping we can show some public domain stuff, maybe some old time serials, watch some old Flash Gordon or some I got some Captain Marvel serial. I think I can show that one. There's going to be some fun stuff. I'm going to try playing some games. I'm going to try to do man.
Oh, fantastic,
do the fun.
Man. Yo, please come back for another episode, man. This is a lot of fun. This hour felt like it was 20 minutes. That's how good it was.
It flew by.
Yeah, because you're freaking amazing. Listen, man, you guys, if you already saw me, you follow me on all these social medias. I'm at Flobo Boyce on Twitter, at Flobo Boyce on Instagram, and at Flobito on Instagram. On Instagram, at Flobo Boyce is kind of a private account, but it's still me. Say hi, hello. Join the boisterous crew at patreon.com/Flobo Boyce. Get unlocked bonus content, blogs, photos, gig blogs, all that stuff. And also, if you want to support the homie and buy a t-shirt, a mug, a face mask, do so at flobito.threadless.com. Until next week, this is What's Up Flobo After Hours. If you're on twitch.tv/Flobo Boyce, please follow me because I need the follows. I need them bad. All right, guys, I'm out. See you next week.
The bed is still